Hi, haven't you missed me? It's Solution Ghana, and we are live right here on all our channels. It's Vocal Brown, and we're talking about investing in Ghana today. Where to look? Investing in Ghana, where to look? Don't you think it's an exciting topic? So yes, we're still in the first quarter of the year, and it's coupled with a lot of transitions happening over the couple of months. We've had a major transition in governance, and we have a new president in the name of President John Mahama on the scene, and he is on a reset agenda, and everybody seems to be in the mood for a reset. And I'm sure that investors out there are also trying to reset when it comes to investments here and there. So where to look, where do we not look? Is the terrain, the business climate, a very attractive one when it comes to investing in Ghana in general? Well, there are quite a number of intricate issues we want to look at so that we can help our audience to make the right choices, all right? So I have a very good news for you. Today, I have in the studios, I'm not alone, I have in the studios a very resourceful person to help us delve into some specialized areas that I think that you should be interested in as an investor. As I aforementioned, it's the first quarter yet, and so it's not too late to look at where you want to invest. If you want to research in that area, this is the right place to be. All right. So a little statistics for us to do some analysis to see whether the business climate is the right, climate for investors. And of course, it depends on which level of investment. In 2021, for instance, Ghana recorded 9.97% in inflation rate. All right. In 2019, for instance, it was still a single digit 2 years down the lane, 7.14%. But fast track to 2022, we've had 31.26%. That's quite scary, right? Definitely, if you wanted to choose which couple of years to manage risk when it comes to investments, definitely you're going to choose the 2018s, the 2017s, 2019, and 2020. Well, 2023, we've had 38.11%. And I know that people's hearts were beaten then. And I know that a lot has gone on. There have been haircuts and, I don't know which level of cuts you've had over the years. But, we're looking into a more promising future, I think, because as of last year, we've had an inflation rate dropping to 24%, according to the Bank of Ghana. And that's quite, a rise, positive rise, looking at or just opposing it to 31 point something percent in the years before. So is it looking good? Is it looking good? Well, I have with me an investment banker. He's in the name of Mr. Bubune Kofi Sorkpor. And as I said, he's an investment banker. He's a CIO as well and member of the Minerals Income Investment Fund. He's a venture strategist, a Toronto-based venture capital. He's going to tell us more about that. And I'll invite him in. Mr. Bubune, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very, very excited to meet you. Very excited to meet you. Say a bit more about yourself. I may be stammering a bit on that level, but you can.
Yeah. So, like you rightly said, my name is Bubune.
Yes.
I'm an investment banker. I have worked in Ghana in fund management, and then moved to work in Canada, focusing on the North American market, where I was investing into tech-related companies, fintech, health tech, and the likes. 3 years ago, I moved back to Ghana to work with the Minerals Income Investment Fund, where the goal has been to build local wealth. How can we leverage on our natural resources to grow the Ghanaian economy?
Wow.
So in a nutshell, that's about me. Yeah.
So to teach you a bit, is it passion that brought you down or money?
It's a combination of things.
Yeah. Did you love Ghana so much?
A little bit of that, yes.
All right.
And then, so there's always, I think Africa has some of the most exciting opportunities anywhere in the world. Like, if you've worked in developed markets, you can see the inefficiencies in emerging markets, and so you always want to be there to support in plugging some of the holes in the emerging market. I always say you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to see or experience what is being done elsewhere, and then try to localize those solutions for the Ghanaian context. So that was my main driver.
Wow. We're glad to have you back. Actually, you're such a resource for us. And well, I need to ask, what's been your experience so far? Looking at the business terrain in Ghana since you came back. Is it promising? Are we in a very sophisticated atmosphere? Or you think that it's as simple as positive?
So I say I'm an eternal optimist.
Okay.
I think we've gone through challenges, especially with COVID. You can never underestimate how the realities of COVID and how it shut down systems. People had to rethink business, and even how we hold meetings have changed, right? A lot more people now do virtual meetings instead of actually walking to other people's offices. So we've had that shift or that change in the environment. But the Ghanaian space, if you look at the youthful population we have, it always presents an opportunity that if you compare Ghana to countries like Japan, where the population is aging, you're having deflation in those economies because there's not enough economic activity there. So the demographic is in our favor, especially for Africa at large. The demographics are in our favor. It can also present a threat at the same time, in that if this youthful population doesn't get to be economically employed or in jobs of economic value to them, then you're going to have all the negative effects of youth revolts and the dissipation of purchasing power within the economy. So, but in the large sense of it, I think Africa is very well positioned. The biggest threat we have is the lack of integration within our systems, in that the difficulty of a Ghanaian doing business in Uganda or Rwanda or even next door to Nigeria. It's really where the problems come in. It still beats my mind that you have networks like MTN in most of these African countries, yet you can't do money transfer across different countries. It's the technology is there. It should be possible to be able to do business across.
Well, I thought that there was this package being presented by some of the banks now. I think AFCFTA, African Continental Trade, are also trying to work on an app that allows such systemized, synchronized transfers and that. I don't know how effective it is now. But it seems to be, coming up. Have you heard of any of that?
Yes, so there's a PAPS that I've forgotten the full meaning of it. But it's still very early stages for it. I think,
it's not been tested.
Yes, it may be working. I don't know the details of it, but you see, if you look at MTN mobile money, if a plumber comes to work for you, within seconds you can be able to pay him without even thinking about it. But some of the systems have certain approval that you have to go through that make it not a seamless payment solution, right? So the ease of just taking your phone and sending 200 CDs to the person standing next to you really is where you lead, right? And that's where we haven't gotten to in terms of the African integration. And payment systems are very key for any business climate, right? If you are able to receive a service and pay for that service in real time, you're solving a major problem.
Okay, so generally, if you look at the climate as against the inflation, earlier on I was mentioning some statistics, as concerned inflation rates, kind of volatile, would you say? Volatile, right? Do we expect a yet volatile trend, or you think that we're going to be gradually progressing from here, and so investors should be looking at it from a positive end?
Yeah, I think we're going to have some stability around volatility of our currency and then the inflation rates. And I say so because mostly when there's a change in government, you would have that initial period where people are not sure of what the policies of the government are and how they're going to implement it. I think one of the good things about this new regime has been the speed with which key positions have been filled. And which means that there's that building up of optimism that, okay, this team knows or they're hitting the ground running quickly.
Okay.
So I think inflation is going to, it may not go down too much, but really what you want is the volatility to be as minimal as possible. Not this year is 35 and the next is 20, then it goes to 10. You just want it to have some stability. And I think the finance minister and co have pretty much talked about the same things about bringing some stability within.
I think just yesterday, it's been in the media that the CD has depreciated 15% more. And so it's affecting fuel prices and things like that. I don't know if it's a reason for us to be scared, or we think that, well, they are early days yet, so we should just, all do our part and see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I think it's early days yet. And some of the key programs that the government is looking to roll out. For one, the gold board, which would be looking to buy all the small scale gold in the country and export for the forex. It's a good plan in my estimation, because if you look at Ghana, the small scale sector last year produced about $5 billion worth of gold. Right? If the government is actually able to buy even 80% of that gold, we're talking about $4 billion worth of forex that they can be able to inject into the
hedge
system.
against.
So then you would then have some predictability about supply of FX in the market, and then it takes away all the nervousness with companies who are looking for dollars. Yes, and then we have some stability. Really, what we need is stability. That if I need dollars, I know where to get it, and I don't have to scramble over the place for it.
Okay, so Bubune, I think that we should go in straight to your areas of expertise and how my audience can benefit off some of your experiences and maybe your advices here and there when it comes to investments in Ghana in general. You have this setup system that you're running or privy to or been leading. Tell us more about it, actually.
So I'll take this from two sides. I always say I have two sides of me. One is the minerals income investment one where I work, which is the mining sector. And then as a private investor into the startup space, which pretty much stems from my previous work that I used to do. If I talk about the minerals space, I think it's one of the most viable sectors of our economy. And taking it purely from even just gold, last year we produced over $11 billion worth of gold as a country. Right, all of that is shipped outside of the country, right? But the exciting thing about this is that
wait. So you had mentioned that $4 billion was, is it $5 billion?
About $5 billion from
the small scale.
Yeah.
So it means that about 7 billion of that came from the large scale.
The large scale. Yes.
Interesting.
The large scale. Yes. So when you come to our mining sector, the good thing is that a lot of the mine support services that go in that sector have been devoted to local businesses or Ghanaian-led businesses. Right. So you would have a company like Goldfields in 2023 saying that they did local procurement of services to the value of $830 million. Yes. That's just Goldfields doing business in Ghana. And I always ask the question, who are providing those services for these companies? how can the young people of this country position themselves to be service providers to the major mining companies? It's not easy to get on their books as a service provider, but it's not impossible.
Okay.
And I think that for me has been one of the most exciting spaces, that how can we provide or build businesses that can be providing services to the major mining companies of this world. And
I'm pretty much interested in this actually, because assuming I want to set up a business and I look at real estate, you look at agriculture, well, minerals, okay, but maybe I need $1 million before I should be encouraged to get close. But if I'm getting close, so I would want a breakdown. If you say startup, if any startup business wants to focus on any kind of service through the value chain when it comes to the mineral sector, let's demystify it. What are we looking at?
Some of the needs in that space are very basic things, right? And I'll try to break a few lines down. One of the companies we actually had interaction with was actually making charcoal.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Charcoal business.
Okay.
Right. So the major mines use what they call activated carbon to extract gold. It's part of their processes for gold extraction.
Yeah.
And activated carbon is actually pretty much a refined form of charcoal that is needed.
Okay.
Right. That's a business that, and that business alone, what the mines require yearly in terms of supply is over $20 million.
Okay.
Right? That's a business a young person can get.
Are there deficits? Are they looking for more?
They do. They are looking
always
for
looking
always looking for
wow.
It's a consumable. So it's always every year they need it. It's a service that they need at every point.
Oh, my viewers, are you listening? Business startups, are you listening? This is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So what do I need? Do I just need to enter into some forest and or plant some trees around and see if I can, get some charcoal, some
yeah. We actually need to make contact with some of the coconut husk producers, the people who sell
coconut husk producers.
Yeah. And then you burn it to a certain degree, it becomes black. And that's pretty much it. But that's one of a lot of services. In fact, the Minerals Commission has a list of all mine services that have to be provided to mining companies. It's about 50 tall list items, right? That you can look at.
Wow.
And sometimes really what we need to do, and what we haven't done well in this part of the world, is building partnerships, right? 3-4 young people can come together and say, look, I am an agronomist and you're a marketing person. How can we team up? Because the mines, as they mine gold, need to do reclamation. They need to plant trees.
Yes.
I can approach them and say, I have seedlings for tip that I'm selling. That's a service.
And that's it.
Yes, and that's it.
And you can make money, a lot of money out of that.
Money out of it, right? Because the good thing about the mining sector in Ghana is that most of the major mines are some of the biggest mining companies in the world. Right? You have Goldfields in this country. You have Anglo Gold. You have Newmont.
Yeah.
And those guys are investing billions and billions into the Ghanaian economy. So how do we take advantage of some of the services? Some things, basic things like supplying equipment, and I'm not talking the heavy equipment. The basic, even the sewing of uniforms for staff of the mining companies, there's a lot that you can look out for.
So a fashion designer can just plug into this.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
We have some tailors and fashion designers out there. I hope you're listening. That's interesting. Any others that you think we could look at?
Yeah. And well, you can even look at water treatment, right? All those companies need to make sure that the water they use in washing the gold and all of that is properly treated before being discharged into the environment. They always need chemicals to some of those things maybe would require some capital. But then others are very less demanding in terms of capital requirements. And truth of the matter is the mining companies, because of the law that makes some of these services strictly for Ghanaian businesses, are even looking to support businesses to get into those spaces.
Okay.
So really, all you have to do is get plugged in, right?
Okay.
Get your licenses, because you have to be licensed to provide services to the mining company.
What kind of licenses are we looking at? Okay, to help the the novice out there. Because sometimes you can think about it, this is going to be a very tall process and procedure. Am I even ready for it? Do I have the capacity and all that? Yeah.
I think the best resource is the Minerals Commission website, and some of these things.
Minerals Commission website. Go there, click it, just a click away.
Yes. Yeah. And read a lot of information on them, the list of services. They actually have a list of all the services the mining companies require. And then you can now try to figure out where you can place yourself in that space. Their licenses, I don't know how much, but it doesn't cost a lot, especially for the fringe services that you are provided, and then you can be able to plug yourself into that space.
That's cool. There's this notion that for such big companies, even with that fringe services, can be kind of like there's a kind of like nepotism that could be going on. Let's say, okay, yeah, I have my brother, I can bring him in to, supply this, and have my in-law somewhere, I have my uncle somewhere. So by the time you're coming in as a neutral person looking for, I mean, they will not tell you directly that, well, we don't have any space for you, but more like realistically, they've already filled in the holes. Is that the case? Or there are always opportunities out there for...
I think that's an oversold notion. Because truth is that the major mines are very professional businesses. It matters to them how they are perceived in the environment or the economy, right? So they actually try as much as possible to be very fair. I think people try to push others to not even try by saying these things, so that you think that, I can't get in that space because I don't know anyone. But you'll be surprised how helpful they are to, and then also, I mean, I always say partnership. If you find the right team, you would be so amazed at the help you can be able to get from this company.
So assuming I were starting, right, a setup, and I came for consultation. This is free consultation for our viewers, right? But okay, so now I want to go into partnership. Let's say I have some money. I have 100,000 cedis, 200,000 cedis. Would you advise that I start in the first place, looking in the mineral direction, or I should look at other areas first and shore up some, capital, a higher capital before? And then, when it comes to the partnerships, I look for a marketer. Maybe I don't have the marketing skill, but I have the money. I look for a market. Who are those expertise that I should look out for? At least 2 or 3 that I know that if I have these people around me, I am sure to do well venturing into,
I think for me, if you have the capital, for me, in my mind, the very first 2 key persons you need is, first off, a business development person who understands how to go out there and look for the business. Because it's easy to say, I want to start something, but to have customers who would patronize your services takes a lot of work, and we can't underestimate that work. The other thing for me is to always have someone who understands the numbers, right? A finance inclined person, who can say, okay, if we have 200,000 cedis, this is how we should budget it. This is the runway we have. This is how far it can get us, and hope that you can be able to get a business within those few months that capital can run. And I would say the third key person would be the technical person, someone who, for whatever service you're providing, has a very good understanding of that service, so that your business person can get you in the room, but you need to convince the people in the room that you can actually deliver.
You know what you're about and all that. Wow.
So that
Okay.
team building, the
Mhm.
technical, the business development, and the finance are key skill sets I always think are very crucial.
And maybe the
to
fourth will be the marketer, right? The one who
Yes,
knows.
well, marketer and business development, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay,
you can have
okay,
one.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Bune. I think that we're having a very interesting discussion. Now, when it comes to risks, especially in your areas, and then against inflation and depreciation, and I know some of the businesses are so much linked with global stock, movements here and there.
Yeah.
In the international, market can influence, things here. So far, what have you observed, and what would be advice for anybody who is assessing the risk factor from the investor's point of view, and then the entrepreneur, the one who is holding the business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
think so. Risk is a very key part of every business. You
Mm.
need to understand your risk.
Mm.
I always say, it is not just having solutions to the risks.
Mm.
It's actually identifying that those are the risks that are in the business I'm operating in.
Mm.
So if you take gold, for instance, I'm saying very good things about the gold space,
Mm.
but it's all because over the past 2 to 3 years, gold prices have been on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years ago,
Mm.
it was trading at about $1,800
Mm.
an ounce.
Mm. Mhm.
Today, we're over $2,900.
Mm.
So
Mm.
a lot
An
of
upward, yeah,
yes.
surge. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what that means is that there's going to be a downturn at some point.
Yes,
Yeah, it
the
happens
curve
to
is going to
everyone.
go.
Exactly. So if you understand
Mm.
on the macro level that
Mm.
I am providing my new service to a mining company,
Mm.
but the underlying business is the price of gold,
Mm.
and I have to be careful of the price of gold, you would better understand how you manage risk in your own business, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
There have been times that we are not able to fully assess the risks that are inherent in the business we're doing. And that's a lot of times is actually when we make wrong decisions. And I can give a personal experience. A few years ago, me and a friend started a garden maintenance company,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
we've been running that for about 8, 9 years now.
Okay.
Quite profitable business, quite still has a good staff strength and doing
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And in our very first year, we had broken even.
Okay.
We're on the road path to making profits.
Okay.
And then we had our gardeners working on a project and cutting some trees, and one of the tree branches fell on someone's car.
Mm.
And it cost us, yeah, we all of a sudden, and then so when me and my
These
partner,
are things you can't foresee.
yes,
So that's the risk too.
and we're like, well, I mean, we thought through everything, but we didn't see this coming. Right? And I was speaking to a mentor, and it was like, why don't you take an insurance over your workers and worker liability and all of that? Yeah. Okay, yeah, this makes sense, right? So yes, there are certain risks that you can be able to predict at the business, at the start of the business, and then
some it comes
have some you can't. But it's always good to
and then the acts of God.
the act of God. But it's always good to have what I call the risk register, so that you are measuring all these risks as and when they happen or when they don't happen, so that you're saving or preparing yourself for that day that something wrong could happen. And for if you're looking for investment, that's us working on the other side of the aisle.
Yes.
If I'm investing into a business, I know there is risk to every business. What I am looking out for the company I'm investing in is not just pointing out the risks, but that they should be able to point it out and tell me what plans they have to mitigate as and when they happen.
Okay.
Right? You don't need to have a solution per se, but you should be able to recognize those risks, right?
Wow.
And that gives an investor confidence or the comfort that, oh, you have thought about this. And so when it happens, you will know what to do.
We are prepared. You're ready for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Okay, so I think that we've had a word for the startups, that are not so intensively, in terms when it comes to capital, and not so high intensive. I think we've been fair enough to go very down to the small scalers who want to do business, and then the intensive, high, deep end business as well. I think the minerals income investment fund, for instance, mostly goes into the when it comes to your partners, we are looking at miners.
Yeah,
We are looking at miners, right? So let's say somebody has a land full of gold and says that, hey, I don't have anything, I just have a land. Can that person knock on your doors? And can that person be helped?
Yeah, that person can knock on our doors, but it's it's the proving of the statement he has gold on the land.
Okay.
Because everybody will tell you, oh, I have gold in the ground.
Yeah, okay.
So what we always require is that you should have spent the first few dollars or cedis to give us a confidence or
The surveys,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Then it gives us the comfort to even engage in further conversations with you. But if you just come and say, then I mean, we're gonna have 1,000 of those every day coming to, yeah. So that's how it works. You would have to de-risk the project
Okay.
to some point
Okay.
for us before
Okay.
we come
Okay.
come on board.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great. So I'm sure that you're encouraging investors, I mean, in the diaspora, expatriates and all that, foreign investors into the country. What will be your word for them when it comes to your area of expertise?
Yeah.
Where should be the first point of I mean, where should they go to? What should they look out for? Why should they come to you, to your portfolio, mineral investment fund? Why? Why should we invest there? As against other countries, you have traveled a lot. You've seen things here and there. Why Ghana?
Well, I'll actually take that from outside of the mineral space.
Okay.
I think the startup ecosystem in Ghana is quite vibrant.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's this and it's a measured vibrancy.
Okay.
There's room for a lot of growth in that space. We've said this severally, but it's still very true that Ghana has a very stable political system, right?
Yeah.
It has a youthful population. The number of Ghanaians with smartphones is very high. Mobile phone penetration is extremely high.
Extremely high, yeah.
The number of payments via phones now is in the trillions of cedis, right? So it means that
the statistics is there to prove,
yes, that there's a lot of activity or business that can be done in the startup ecosystem.
Okay.
Right. I always say the basic things for any economy to function properly is having a good macro or political system, having a payment system that works, having addressing system so that if I'm buying something, I can actually have it delivered to my house. And then having people with the purchasing power to actually pay for services, right? On all of those scores, I think Ghana does well. Okay, which means that
the purchasing power as well.
Purchasing power is actually probably where we have the lowest ranking. Yes. But if you look at the people, if you look at the volume of trades, you can say our purchasing power, it's not so bad and it can improve. And so if you plug in early now, right? And I think that if you're an investor looking to come into this market, there are various platforms that you can actually get to understand some of the opportunities here.
Okay.
Right. You have the Ghana Angel Investor Network, the Venture
Ghana
Capital
Investments and Promotion Center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a lot of tons of information on various sectors of the economy.
You have the JEPA, yeah.
Yeah. So you can go to those places, right, to be able to understand the economy better. I always say you have to do the hard work. It's easy to say, oh, I have money to invest. It doesn't, money is not enough. You need to understand what you're investing into so you don't get your hands burned.
Yes.
And then you later on say, oh, I came to do business in Ghana. They are not honest people. You need to, it's not enough having capital or money. As an investor, In every project we invest in, it takes us about a year or more.
Feasibility studies,
Research
on various levels.
Getting consultants to do a lot of work, my team doing analysis, all kinds of work.
And you should be willing to spend on these areas. The average person does not look at the expenditure on research and things like that. He just wants to hit the ground running, knowing that there's a product, there are services, and there's a market and all that.
Yeah, I think
we need to appreciate the research aspect of things.
Yes, yeah. And I think research can be on various levels, right? I mean, for a fund like me, it's a lot of getting consultants and co. But if you're talking of you trying to invest into a project, it actually could be reaching out to a friend and saying, "Hey, do you know anybody who is into this business? I want to talk to them about how to get into
farming." It doesn't have to cost so much.
It doesn't have to. Sometimes it's just, and you get a lot of free services as well. Videos
like
online.
they are getting here, actually.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You'd be amazed at the amount of resource available to you to make an informed decision.
Wow. All right. My director says all too soon. Time is up and we need to roll this. We can go on 2 hours, 3 hours on this, actually. I'm enjoying the conversation and I'm sure that you are as well. Well, it's been Mr. Bubune Kofi Sorkpor in the house. He is the CIO and member of the Mineral Income and Investment Fund. He's a venture strategist at Toronto-based venture capital firm. And he's been all over the place. And I think he's quite a solid person, as you've observed it, when it comes to knowledge and understanding of the business terrain in Ghana. Hey, Ghana is still a very attractive end when it comes to investments. And I will encourage you, this is really the Gold Coast. Come here and do business with us. It's been Vocal Brown and it's been Solution Ghana. See you another time. It's a series. We're going to continue from here and you're going to be listening to very amazing, exciting, very educative information that's going to help you as a business investor. Stay glued with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.